Hello, and welcome to QuickTale English. Today we share a new mystical story told from the first person, The Weightless Dawn. My name is Alex. I am a simple person. I work in an office, I drink coffee, and I like to read books. My life is very routine, always the same. But for the last 6 months, I have had one terrible problem, the dream. The dream always started the same way. I was standing on a very tall bridge. This bridge was old, made of dark stone, and the fog was thick. I could not see the bottom, only white mist. The wind was cold and strong. I always felt afraid. In the dream, I never wanted to jump. I always wanted to step back, away from the edge. But my feet were like stone. I could not move them. Then the moment came. A strong, invisible force always pushed me. I fell. The falling was the worst part. It was not fast, but it was long. I felt the cold air rush past my face. My stomach always felt sick. I shouted, but I could not hear my own voice over the sound of the wind. I never hit the bottom. I always woke up just before the end. I woke up every morning with my heart racing and my sheets on the floor. But one night, everything changed. The night started normally. I read a book, drank some warm tea, and went to bed at 10:30 p.m. I promised myself I would not think about the bridge. The dream began. I was on the bridge. The fog was thicker than usual. The bridge was shaking slightly. I looked down, and this time the mist was green. I felt a great panic. I tried to close my eyes, but I could not. The invisible force pushed me. I started falling. This time, the fall was faster. The wind was a loud roar in my ears. I could smell the cold, damp air. I felt the sharp ache in my chest from the fear. I fell for a very long time. I thought, this is it. This is the time I will hit the bottom. Suddenly, my eyes snapped open. I was not in the dream anymore. I was awake. But something was terribly wrong. I felt the cold wind on my face. It was the exact same wind from the dream. I felt a strange, light pressure under my feet, but there was no floor or mattress. I was floating. I tried to turn my head. I opened my eyes fully. The darkness of my bedroom was gone. I was not in my bed. I was not in my room. I looked down. Below my feet, there was nothing. No floor, no rug, only the green mist that I had seen in the dream. I looked up. I could see strange dark shapes above me, like broken skyscrapers, but they were not solid. They looked like shadows of buildings. I was falling, but very slowly. It was more like floating on a deep, invisible current. Panic hit me again, but it was a quiet panic because I realized I was not falling fast enough to die. I was just weightless. You finally made it, said a voice nearby. I spun around, turned quickly. Floating next to me was an old woman. She wore a long gray coat that seemed to move with the invisible current. She looked kind, but her eyes were very old and full of knowledge. Who are you? Where am I? I asked. My voice sounded weak and strange in this empty air. The woman smiled. I am Elara, and you are in the between place, the place where the dreams and the world meet. Why am I here? I was just sleeping. The dream of the bridge is very powerful, Alex. You gave it too much energy. Every time you felt fear, you tied yourself to the falling feeling. Tonight, your fear was so strong that it pulled your body out of your bed and into this current. You are still falling from the bridge, but now you are awake. I looked at my hands. They were real. I felt the cold on my skin. This was not a dream. How do I stop? I cried. I want to go back to my home. Elara floated closer. You must stop the feeling, not the fall itself. The bridge is the symbol of your life. It means you are afraid to move forward, afraid to take the next step. So you chose the fall. She held out her hand. The air is holding you, Alex. Look at it. Feel it. The wind is not pushing you down. The wind is moving around you. It is a current, not an enemy. I took a deep breath. I looked at the strange, shadowy buildings floating far above the green mist. I stopped screaming internally. I tried to feel the current. The wind was still there, but now it felt like a soft touch, like someone pushing me gently, not pulling me down to my death. I closed my eyes again and focused on the feeling of the air under my feet. It was a pressure, a support. You must choose to be part of the current, Alex, Elara whispered. Stop fighting the air. I focused harder. I imagined I was not falling, but floating peacefully on water. The intense fear slowly left my body. When the fear left, the rush stopped. I realized I was barely moving. I was hanging in the air. Good, said Elara. Now you are ready to wake up in the right place. She touched my forehead with one cold finger. The bridge is waiting for you in the morning, Alex. Cross it in real life. Be brave. The strange green mist rushed up quickly. The currents became fast again, but this time I felt peace, not fear. I opened my eyes. I was in my own bed. The sun was coming through the window. My sheets were a little messy, but I was definitely on the mattress. I sat up quickly, my heart still beating fast. I looked at my hand. My skin felt normal, but it was cold. I felt the air around me. It was just the normal air of my room. But under my feet, for just one moment, I still felt the faint push of the wind. And on my forehead, I felt a slight cold pressure. I walked to the window. My life was still routine, but now I knew about the between place. I knew the world was a bridge, and I had to choose to walk, not fall. That morning, I put on my shoes and went to work. But I was not the same Alex. The adventure had changed me. I had finally learned to accept the current, and I was ready to step across the bridge of my life. Thank you for joining QuickTale English. Subscribe for more stories about dreams, magic, and the mysteries of the mind. And continue practicing your B1 English. See you next time.